Perhaps she was right. Perhaps you were the monster. Perhaps your love was too demanding, your mind too fractured, your perception too flawed. You began to apologize for the crimes she was committing. You apologized for your own existence when it proved inconvenient to her carefully constructed double life. This is the genius of the master manipulator. They convince you to build it for yourself. And then they convince you that the bars are for your own protection. At a certain point, the psychological pressure became too great, the evidence too damning. You made a desperate, rational bid for freedom. This act of self-preservation was something the parasite could not abide. Just as you reached the door, she deployed her most potent and saccharine poison, the love bomb. The letters filled with performative anguish and promises of an eternal future she was already plotting to spend with another. The tears calibrated for maximum effect. The sudden, overwhelming affection designed to short-circuit your resolve and remind you of the fantasy you were so desperate to believe in. She did not want you. She wanted to prevent you from not wanting her. It is a crucial distinction. The gambit worked. You returned not to a sanctuary, but to the next circle of hell, believing the poison was the antidote. The deception, of course, escalated. It had to. A liar's reality is a fragile thing, requiring constant, frantic maintenance. The triangulation began in earnest. Ghosts of others, past and present, summoned to keep you in a perpetual state of competition. You were no longer just a partner. You were an anchor, a placeholder, a stable variable against which she could measure her chaos. She spoke of her ex, the one she was actively betraying you with. As a wounded soul, you were meant to pity, not suspect. She cultivated new prospects online, whispering to them of the true nightmare her life with you had become, all while lying in the bed your labor had paid for. She was living a dozen lives, all of them predicated on the singular, foundational lie that you were the only one. The sheer weight of these lies eventually became too much to bear. The evidence became too overwhelming to ignore, even for a mind so thoroughly conditioned to self-doubt. The final, irrefutable proof arrived. Not a suspicion, but a fact. A name on a screen. Confession from an accomplice, delivered with the casual arrogance of a victor. This was the lightning strike of recognition. The horrifying, gut-wrenching moment when 7 years of carefully constructed reality shatters into a million pieces. The moment you knew, with sickening certainty, that you were not mad. You had been right all along. This clarity did not set you free. The truth was the trigger for the final discard. The moment you could no longer be gaslit into submission, you ceased to be useful. The subject was to be disposed of. The discard was not a quiet departure. It was a detonation designed for maximum collateral damage. It was followed by the most vicious act of all.